Hi, artists of the world. I'm Natalia from Yes Art Marketing, and on this channel, I share practical ways to grow your art business, sell your work, and build a creative life that actually feels sustainable. So feel free to subscribe if you want more of that. If you've been posting your art consistently, putting time into your videos, trying to show up, and still getting very low views or very little engagement, or just you're feeling that people are just scrolling past your work without really seeing it, there is a high chance that the problem is not your art. It's how your content starts. Because when you go and share your art on platforms like Instagram or TikTok, where people are scrolling fast and they are not carefully evaluating what they're seeing, they're not sitting there thinking, let me give this artist a chance. They're scrolling quickly, almost automatically, and making very fast decisions about what they want to pay attention to. And those decisions happen in the first 1 or 2 seconds of them seeing the video. So if nothing in those first seconds makes them pause or feel curious or feel something at all, they just keep going. And this is where the idea of a hook comes in. A hook is simply the beginning of your video that answers one very basic question in your viewer's mind, and that is, why should I care about this? And that's it. It's not a trick, it's not a manipulation. It's definitely not about being too loud or dramatic or fake. It's just about giving people a reason to stay for a little longer and keep watching. And just to clear something up, hooks are not a new social media invention, and they've always existed. If you think about, for example, newspaper headlines, their entire job was to just make you stop and read the article. Or if you think about email subject lines, they decide whether you open the email or ignore it. Or movie trailers, they're designed to show you just enough to make you want to watch the film. Even book covers and titles work as hooks. They create curiosity before you read a single page. So this idea of drawing someone in at the beginning is just a part of the communication. It's how people decide where to put their attention. Now, I also know that some artists they feel uncomfortable with this idea still. It can feel too marketing, too salesy, or like you're somehow lowering the quality or the seriousness of your work by thinking about hooks. But avoiding hooks doesn't make your work more authentic. It just makes it easier to ignore. Because people on social media, they aren't rejecting your art after carefully studying it. Most of the time, they're not even getting to the point where they can really see it. So using a hook is not about tricking people into liking something, yeah? It's about helping the right people notice your work in a very crowded, very fast-moving environment. It's about giving your art a chance. Let me just give you a simple example, yeah, because maybe that will be more helpful. Imagine one artist starts a video with, here's my new painting, and then they show the process, yeah? And another artist starts with, I almost ruined this painting 3 times before it worked, and then they show the process. The second one creates curiosity. It invites you, it's teasing. You want to see what happened. Or visually, instead of slowly building up to the final piece, you might start with the finished artwork right away, or with a bold detail, or with a moment where something goes wrong. You're not changing your art, you're not changing your integrity, you're changing just the entry point for the viewer. And this becomes extremely important, especially when we talk about Reels or TikToks, the short form video in general, because these formats are built around very, very short attention spans. So in practice, your content usually works better when it's shorter, more dynamic, and when something changes every few seconds, whether that's an angle or the detail or the stage of the work or the story you're telling or some movement. It also helps if it's not just look at this, but if there is some kind of emotion, question, or small narrative that keeps people watching. Those are hooks. So if you can think of a reel as a tiny story, a micro introduction into your world rather than a static post, then the hook is just the opening line of that story. Also, if you want some help with this, I've put together a list of simple storytelling hooks you can use for your art videos in the description below, so you don't have to come up with everything from scratch. And if you want more structured support with this kind of thing, like content ideas, hook prompts, and guidance on how to actually turn your art into something sustainable, you can check out my Yes Art Club. Inside the club, we share new Reels ideas every month, including ready-to-use hook prompts, so you're not starting from scratch, you're not staring at a blank page every time you want to post. And these ideas and the hook ideas are designed specifically for artists, so it's easy for you to create a month worth of content in just minutes without breaking your head. So if you want, you can try it for free for a month with the code 1FREE, and I will leave that in the description to the video as well. Now, I want to be very clear about one thing, because it's where people sometimes get overwhelmed. You don't need to become a completely different person to be able to do this. You don't need to turn into a full-time content creator or start performing or doing anything that feels unnatural to you. You just need to present your work in a way that gives people a reason to pause, because you can have beautiful, thoughtful, technically strong work, but if no one stops to look at it, it doesn't really get the chance that it deserves. So if your content has been feeling invisible lately, if it's not performing very well, instead of questioning your art or the algorithm or the style or your direction or anything else, I would really encourage you to look at your first few seconds, at the first few seconds of each video that you're posting. What does your video say at the very beginning? Does it create curiosity? Does it create a feeling? Or does it ask a question? Does it invite a person in? Or is it passive? So the viewer actually has to do all the thinking and all the guessing there. Yeah. That small shift can make a much bigger difference than most people expect. So I encourage you to not be scared of hooks, try them, implement them, and you will see the difference. It's something that you can practice and improve over time without really losing yourself in the process. You're not going to lose your identity or integrity there. So I hope that this gives you a clearer and more grounded way to think about hooks. It's not a marketing trick, it's a way of helping your work and your content be seen. If this was helpful, please like the video and also feel free to subscribe, and you will see my videos coming out every Wednesday. I'll see you next time.